Hello, this is Master Daniel 96, and today I'm gonna be talking about what could the future of the Star Wars franchise be after Star Wars Episode 9, and so what will the films be? Because it's guaranteed the Rian Johnson trilogy and the Benioff and Weiss series, but we just don't have a release date yet. And let's begin. Obviously you're gonna have stuff like the TV shows with Resistance, The Mandalorian. Clone Wars is pretty much going to be its 7th season because of the original run for the Clone Wars series. Before Disney canceled it, they were actually going to be I think season 7 and 8 during the show's original run, but I'm not sure they're going to go that route because I feel like they're going to pick 12 episodes of the unused Clone Wars arcs that were planned, and for the episodes that when the show wasn't being canceled, because I feel like season 7 is going to have they're going to pick and choose unused stuff from season 7 and 8, even though the Darth Maul and the Dathomir comic was going to be I think season 6, and Dark Disciple I think was going to be the Dark Disciple novel was going to be an 8-part arc for the Clone Wars series, and so they pretty much adapted those. I don't think those are going to make it on screen. I feel like they're going to have the other things, the finale is going to be the Siege of Mandalore, which was referenced in the Ahsoka novel, and that was going to be the show's ending, and I feel like that's the one they're going to do, so that's going to be kind of like a passion project for Dave Filoni to do, and he'll probably have other animated shows in the works. I feel like after when Clone Wars is finished, Dave Filoni will probably shift his focus more on Resistance, and then maybe he'll do another animated show set maybe between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. Maybe a series about Luke would be good, what he was up to in the 30 years, and also, what else could that be? We're getting the Cassian show, which is gonna be, I think I've read an article that's gonna be, I think, in 2020, so they're probably in production with that, so probably in the process of making that. The Mandalorian will come out this year, and can't wait to see how that all plays out. I think Jon Favreau will do a good job with that, and he has a lot of good work with Iron Man, really good movie, and he also did good stuff like Elf, and so he is a pretty talented director, and I think he could do something with The Mandalorian. And he also voiced Pre Vizsla in the Clone Wars series, so a lot of good potential with The Mandalorian, and so you'll probably have a lot of thriving with Resistance and in the Mando, so probably that will get a good, be a big Star Wars thing after Episode 9. And what else? I predict the Rian Johnson trilogy is going to be, I think, around the time frame of 2021, 2022, or 2023. Because Rian Johnson is coming out with a movie called Knives Out, which comes out in November, and you can look that up on the internet, which that's going to be his upcoming film. And that's probably why I think, when Colin Trevorrow got fired from Episode 9, that's probably why Rian Johnson took the step down to do Episode 9, and why JJ came back into the fold and to do Episode 9, where JJ Abrams came in there, and that's probably where Rian Johnson wanted to do his movie Knives Out, and then probably that's why they gave him the green light to do his trilogy, and it is still happening. Really, when people said, oh, it could be canceled and stuff, which, take those kind of stuff with a grain of salt, because really there wasn't really a source to back that up, because really Disney and Lucasfilm are the ones to have the final say on that, to confirm that, and then Rian Johnson did say on his Twitter account that it is still happening, but he's probably focusing on the movie, on his upcoming movie Knives Out, which will be in November. And it did say on IMDb it's in post-production, so he's probably focused on that, and then probably once he gets all that taken care of, he'll probably focus on his first movie for his planned Star Wars trilogy, as I do predict it will probably be released probably 2021 at the earliest, maybe 2022 or 2023 at the latest, but I'm going to say maybe the time frame of, I would say the earliest, probably 2021 or 2022, maybe. And the Benioff and Weiss series, I feel like they'll probably shift the focus on that after Game of Thrones is finished, and so I feel like they could probably do the format like with how they released the sequel trilogy, and then probably how they released, and then had the spin-offs in between with Rogue One and Solo. So pretty much they could have take a little break and then kind of do like how they did with release The Force Awakens, then Rogue One, then The Last Jedi, then Solo, then Episode 9, then 2020 seems to be like a question mark kind of year, or it's kind of like a break or something. Is really if there was anything for a Star Wars movie in 2020, we would probably already know by now, but I'm gonna think 2020 is gonna be like an off year, I think, because that's probably why maybe 2019 is the big year for Star Wars, and then maybe like 2020 is gonna be that year where things quiet down, and then maybe 2021 is where maybe things are ramping up again, and maybe like by that time frame as I predicted where the Rian Johnson trilogy will start, I feel like that's where things will ramp up more, and that's going to be like their trilogy, and then the Rian Johnson trilogy and the Benioff and Weiss series are separate from the Skywalker saga, so it's not going to be like an episodic trilogy. And other things, for an episode 10, 11, and 12, I have to say, if they are going to make it, I'm going to say it's probably going to happen in like the late 2020s or early 2030s if it was going to happen. Probably somewhat in the next 8 to 10 or 15 years probably it will happen. Or they could do something like maybe they'll kind of do something similar like back in the day when they had the post-Return of the Jedi expanded universe stories. They could do something along that route with stories beyond Episode 9, because really, when they made those post-Return of the Jedi expanded universe stories back in the day before Disney bought it, because really they didn't really know that. Because really they wrote it because they couldn't. Because I think it was like something like they couldn't do something before A New Hope because like in the prequels, because that's where I feel like where they knew George Lucas would have went back and made movies, and then they probably didn't because we never knew that a 7, 8, and 9 would have happened, and pretty much George Lucas wrote outlines for the sequel trilogy, like planned a sequel trilogy before Disney bought Star Wars, and then he decided to sell the company to Disney, and then bam, a 7, 8, and 9 a Star Wars episode 7, 8, and 9 was announced. And then I don't know, because really that's a different era, because usually George Lucas would have been more back and forth on, because really people look at him for saying being back and forth on things, because there's always those old school things when he would say, I'm going to make a 9-part saga and stuff, and then he made 6 movies, but then he wrote the outlines to plan a trilogy, and then decided to sell the company to Disney, and what it is, it happened. The 7, 8, 9 did happen, and we're already almost done with the sequel trilogy this December, and sorry about that, went on a little tangent there, and just went a bit off topic there, and so maybe they'll do something like similar with post episode 9 stories, like maybe we'll have books and comics set after episode 9, kind of like as the closest thing, like, like probably of us not knowing that there'll be an episodes 10, 11, and 12, like, but maybe it will happen. It just depends on how episode 9 ends. If there is one, I think it's probably gonna be way down the line, like, and like I feel like the next big focus is going to be for Star Wars movies is the Rian Johnson trilogy and the Benioff and Weiss series, because those have been announced, because really the Rian Johnson trilogy was announced to be happening since like a month or a couple weeks before The Last Jedi came out in late 2017, and then somewhere in 2018 they announced the Benioff and Weiss series. So, those will probably be happening in the next couple years, and whether there'll be a 10, 11, 12, only time will tell, and that's all I gotta say. And I also covered this on the Star Wars Enthusiast podcast, which you can go check out on Soundcloud, and tell me what you think's going to happen after episode 9 in the description down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. All my stuff where you can check me out on social media will be down below, and I'll catch you guys next time with another video, and may the Force be with you.